So, what does a great product manager actually do these days? Especially now, in a world being totally flipped on its head by AI, the old rulebook just doesn't cut it anymore. The gap between just going through the motions and creating something of real value has never been bigger. And that's exactly what we're breaking down today. All right, let's dive right in with a huge problem that's kind of plaguing the industry. It's called product management theater. This is a term from Marty Kagan over at the Silicon Valley Product Group, and it perfectly describes what happens when a company looks like it's doing all the right things. The endless meetings, the super detailed roadmaps, everyone's busy, but at the end of the day, they're not creating any real value for their customers or for the business. It's all just for show. And at the very heart of this problem is this fundamental case of mistaken identity. A lot of product managers out there just aren't empowered to do the real job, which is to own the value of a product, to own its viability. Instead, they get stuck managing backlogs and just coordinating meetings. They've basically become project managers in disguise. And this leads to this awful, sinking feeling of professional decay. You feel stuck, you're bogged down in a slow environment, you're working with bad data, you can't really test your ideas or even see if you're making a difference. It feels like your skills are just rotting on the vine. And honestly, it's a total career killer. So the big question is, how do you escape this trap? And let me tell you, it is not about finding some new fancy tool or a new process. No, it's about shifting the entire game you're playing. It's about shifting your entire focus away from just managing tasks to driving real, measurable outcomes for your users and for the business. And that huge shift? It all starts with one incredibly powerful idea from Simon Sinek, the Golden Circle. Think of this as the foundational framework for how great leaders and, great products inspire people to actually take action. The framework itself is actually pretty simple. You see, most companies know what they do. Some of them know how they do it, but very, very few can clearly articulate why they do it. And that why isn't about making a profit. That's just a result. Your why is your purpose, your cause, your core belief. And great product leaders, they always, always communicate from the inside of this circle out, starting right from that core why. And here's the crucial point. Your product, the what, is really just the tangible proof of your why. It's the physical thing that proves your belief, the solution to a problem you care deeply about solving. Without that crystal clear why, your product isn't really a solution. It's just a random bundle of features totally adrift in a crowded market. Okay, so once you're grounded in that why, the next logical question is how. How do great product managers actually operate day to day, especially when the thing they're building is powered by AI? So here's the first major mental shift you have to make with AI. See, traditional software is deterministic. If you do X, Y always happens. But AI? It's probabilistic. It makes educated guesses, predictions. And as a PM, your new core job, really, is to embrace and manage that uncertainty, both with your stakeholders and, most importantly, with your users. Let's make this super concrete. Imagine an AI model that's designed to find animals in photos. It might look at an image and say, with 80% confidence, that it sees a dog. And that sounds pretty good, right? But what about that other 20%? That 20% of uncertainty is where everything gets really complicated. I mean, in a fun photo app, a mistake is just funny. But in a high-stakes world like medical imaging or self-driving cars, that 20% has massive life or death implications for the user. And this creates the central paradox of AI product management. If you know for a fact that your system is going to be wrong sometimes, how on earth do you convince users to trust it? How do you get them to adopt it? And maybe even learn to love it? This is the tightrope you have to walk every single day. Well, the answer really comes down to two key pillars. First, there's explainability, making it super clear to the user in plain language how the system works and why it made a specific recommendation. And second is control, giving users the actual power to influence outcomes, to give feedback, and to easily correct the AI when it messes up. See, trust isn't built by pretending the AI is perfect. It's built by being totally transparent about its imperfections. And all of that brings us to the what, the actual, tangible goals, tools, and frameworks that modern PMs use to execute on their vision and really bring that why to life. The ultimate goal, the holy grail for any product, is achieving product market fit. This is that magical sweet spot, that intersection where you've built something that users absolutely love, that's technically possible to build and maintain, and that's actually viable for the business to sustain. If you can nail this, you've got a real product on your hands. But how do you actually measure your progress towards that fit? Well, it's never just one single magic number. Great PMs use what you could call a whole cocktail of metrics. You've got your North Star to guide the whole ship, but you also need health metrics to make sure you're not accidentally hurting the user experience, and guardrail metrics to prevent any bad, unintended consequences. This balanced approach is often structured using a framework like OKRs, or Objectives and Key Results. And this right here is where all that high-level strategy becomes real. You can take a big, ambitious goal like enhance the user experience and translate it into a set of concrete, measurable results. And notice how the goal of increasing engagement is balanced by other metrics like reducing song skips and also by the raw performance of the AI model itself. This is exactly how you connect a big vision to the team's day-to-day work.
Look, with limited time and resources, you've always got to decide what to build next. That means making smart bets. A classic PM framework for this is the impact versus effort matrix. It helps you quickly spot the quick wins, the high impact, low effort stuff, while also letting you plan for those bigger strategic projects that are really going to define your product's future.
But here's the thing, all these tools, all these metrics, and all these frameworks, they're completely useless without the single most important component, a fundamental shift in your mindset. And this brings us right back to where we started. It all comes down to this one idea. On a truly empowered team, the product manager is a creator, not just a facilitator. Your job is not to be a note-taker in meetings or the person who just shuffles tickets around in Jira. That is the theater we were talking about. Your true role is to be a creator. You are the visionary who deeply, deeply understands the user's problems and the business's goals, and you balance all that with the incredible, mind-bending possibilities of technology. You're hands-on. You're willing to jump in and prototype an idea, write a quick query, or sketch a design if that's what it takes to move the team forward. So in the end, the most powerful question you can ask yourself isn't, what feature are we building next? It's a question that connects everything you do right back to your purpose. Look at your roadmap, look at your backlog, and just ask, is the work we are doing every single day proving what we believe? And answering that question honestly, well, that's what separates the facilitators from the true creators.